Intanto benvenuto, benvenuti
Welcome everyone, and thanks for tuning in. So we decided to shoot this video because of the urgent situation that we're going through. Today, Framesi would like to express his solidarity to the whole supply chain and its network of workers, employees and members of the team. Today, we are meeting Fabio Franchina, representing the very essence of Framesi, who will help us take stock of the current situation we're going through and discuss possible future scenarios. Fabio, thanks for being here with us today and accepting to share your thoughts.
Well, first of all, thank you, Isidoro, because you have accepted, to be on board. I mean, this is a very nice initiative, in my opinion. This is absolutely fundamental, and of course, so we don't want to abandon anyone. I mean, we sort of feel anguish, worries, and we have some doubts on the future. So people are reacting positively or negatively. But of course, as you said in your introduction, we're going through some very special, times. Now, fortunately, not many people lived before the Second World War, but, some elderly people told me that this is more or less the same situation. Now, the difference is that, in the past, there was an evil enemy, and of course you had to fight against, that enemy. So they knew who the enemy was. Well, today the situation is different. We don't know who the enemy is or who the enemies are. So we live in a very doubtful space and time. But it's been shown that now we have, opened our eyes, is social distancing, and then, of course, we keep washing our hands. And, okay, sorry, there's an ambulance right here. Okay. Unfortunately, this is what we hear every day. So anyway, we are able to face, COVID-19 in the best possible way. Of course, the virus will be removed when we have the opportunity to have a vaccine. As long as we have no vaccine, I don't think we will be able to end this story. But we have to live this time in a very intelligent or smart way, okay? We don't want the virus to take over. We don't want it to win. So this is why we have to be ready, to be prepared, because the future will have to be better than before. Okay, our future will be different. It has to be better than before. So our task today is the following. Do we have ideas or systems or methodologies, to help everyone, making sure that, going back to our normal life will be as positive as possible?
Absolutely. As soon as phase 2 will start, we will have to move on from being passive and staying home. So here's the first question. How are you guys in the Framesi team taking this current phase? How are you guys feeling?
Well, thank you for the question, first of all. We made very strict and rigorous choices, and we made decisions. Even before closing salons, the company went through a very complicated time in terms of management, because on an early basis, we have adopted, all of the precautions and all of the so-called instructions that, then came from the government. So to work in an environment which could be as safe as possible. So plenty of, attention towards other people, hand gel, the fact of, inviting people to wash hands, and then remote meetings, and then testing temperature to all the people we have in our offices, but also in the shop floor. So we have used plenty of prevention tools, and then all the way to March 13th, when we decided to close our production plant and offices. Now, smart working is useful, but of course, in terms of production or manufacturing, if you will, well, there's no smart working possible, in the shop floor. So we decided to protect everyone. So we closed the company. So there was a sort of a shutdown for everyone. Of course, we do have some people, in the so-called smart working circle. So only some of them can do this. So this is what we decided to do. And of course, this entailed many problems, because this means that, if you will, production has been, interrupted or discontinued. 3 weeks ago, I know that salons were also closed 3 weeks ago. I mean, here in Italy, in the rest of Europe, and in many, many countries around the globe. But of course, I think for the first time of our history, I mean, we have never, apart from the, the summer break, we have never, closed the company for, well, as long as 3 weeks. It has never happened. So I have to say that before closing the company, let's say that we organized all of our warehouses so as to have all the products available, top sellers and best-selling products were ready to be shipped. So I hope we will be able to, reopen our gates and doors as soon as possible together with salons. So let's say that we have worked in a very smart way, in a very unique way.
So you mentioned hairstylists. Are your relations with them going well in this current phase?
Well, I have to say that both directly and indirectly, we try and offer support to all of our customers. I think we have an extraordinary network. I mean, this is what I keep repeating over and over. In many cases, I'm not very generous, so maybe I almost never congratulate the network, and I hope they understand that this is the way I am. But our network is so smart, so close to customers. We are offering customers plenty, tangible but also intangible support. So this is, let's say, the first action. The second major action is deployed by us right on the network because, one of the things that, in my opinion, has changed the way we are communicating is, of course, the use of the network. Now, the net today means that we are closer to our customers today, so we have implemented so many different factors. I think that we have something like 32 different events, live events, recording, sessions, technical suggestions. So this means that we are, let's say, offering our support, our help to hairdressers, hair salons. And of course, the system today is totally different. The way they live and work today is totally different. It has changed a lot. But this means that, we've been here before, we are still here. We've been here for 75 years, by the way. So, of course, I really would like to continue to strengthen, this mutual, relationship. Of course, as we say, it is only in times of need that you can really spot and see and work with your friends. Okay, so we want to be, let's say, friends of our customers right now. So we keep doing training sessions. We also have webinars. Once again, plenty of communication tools, educational tools in order to keep the attention level as high as possible. Don't forget one key point. Of course, we are at home, but of course, this doesn't mean we have to spend the entire day on our, couch. Of course, there's no sofa only, there's no couch only. So I know that this is a sort of an imprisonment, okay? It is a confinement, okay, no problem. Let's turn this confinement into, an operating tool, which is, as active as possible. We will start tomorrow, maybe not tomorrow, in a few days.
Right, so let's focus on the restart. Are you preparing for it? How are you going to support your hairstylists in resuming their activity?
Of course, we have plenty of, initiatives and events or in general material that we are preparing for salons and hairstylists. So once again, this is something that has really, shaken the entire world. But I'm sure that after, an earthquake, there will be new habits and new opportunities. So like every single human being, we try and remove, we sort of, erase and rewind, right? So we remove negative things and we try and remember positive things only. Just think of what happened, almost 20 years ago. The attack to the Twin Towers in September 2001. Something totally new. Terrorism changed, and it has, a major impact on the life of everyone, almost a direct impact. So people understood that there was no possibility to feel safe even at home. So this has changed plenty of habits. So it was able to show, someone have been able to show actually that many different habits have changed. So, for example, spending more time with our families, we spend time with friends, and then the new sharing concept, not just a virtual sharing, a physical, tangible sharing. This is something that we saw appearing after 2001. There's been an incredible boom of spas. I mean, people want to feel, taken care of by someone. So top attention, top focus onto ourselves. We want to be pampered, we want to be hugged, and once again, we want someone to take care of us. I think that we are now going through another major change. Of course, we will be talking about details. I mean, I'm sorry, I have no crystal ball, so it is not available anywhere. So, of course, I really don't know what will happen in the near future, but I'm sure that the world will change. How will it change and where? Well, I think personally that people will understand that a key concept, for example, quality, will have to be respected. I mean, Japanese invented the concept of global quality or total quality some decades ago. Well, I think that this concept, total quality, will have to be one of the main factors, one of the main ingredients in our business. This is what people will be looking at. I mean, we will be looking for this. I mean, we just want something special. We want to have top-notch, top-quality products. In the past month, we went through something different. I mean, we are purchasing products in a different way, and many initiatives, so many activities can be managed in a different way. Something, that's sort of I've never seen before. Wait a second. I mean, salons will reopen one day. Okay, so let's be positive and optimistic. So they will have so many customers that at last, will have their hair done. Okay, so of course, don't forget that right now, some people are sort of doing a sort of a do-it-yourself, techniques. So we have learned, how to paint our walls. Maybe we are doing some, emergency interventions. We try and do some fixes. Okay, this is what men are doing these days. Okay, so we try and fix things, and maybe we break things. Anyway, I'm sure the same thing happened on our hair. So people are once again doing some do-it-yourself.
And they have caused a terrible mess. And I am not alone in saying so. I have many friends who actually agree with me.
I know, yes, incredible damages. I've seen something so nice. Anyway, I've seen something in a presentation of one of my competitors, and he said, for €5, you may have to spend €200 to repair damages. And okay, I know he's a competitor, but sometimes competitors have good ideas, so I want to share this with you. This may be a big issue, a big problem. So what you need is the right competence, the right skills. You need a specific methodology. It is not as easy as people may think. So even you really have to have the right products. Of course, you wash your hair, but maybe it's not as, shining or beautiful as it was before. So we do have some video calls, and I see people doing everything. They only show the mouth, or maybe they wear a hat. They cover their heads. Okay, just let me finish this point. We will have customers back in the salons, okay? What do they need? A top quality service. But this service has to be carried out and offered in a different way.
Exactly. And let's dig deeper into details. Let me preface this by saying that as economic journalists, know that recessions or even worse depressions are usually followed by a steep increase in the demand for services. It's like everyone wanted to shrug off that grim moment and leave it behind. Let's discuss how important it is now to prepare ourselves for the restart phase.
Sometimes, for me, it is difficult to really understand, especially Italians, but not only. We like sports. We are fond of sports. So, for example, a football match lasts 90 minutes. Maybe we forget that, football players do training every single day of the week. So, they work 6 days just for the 90-minute show. So sometimes we don't train ourselves enough. For example, a sprinter, or, when you run, the 100 meters, so some athletes, they try again just to run for 10 seconds. Okay, so this is what I meant before. Education, training, and preparedness. For example, day one, hopefully tomorrow, I know it won't be tomorrow, but let's say as quickly as possible, as soon as possible, salons will reopen. We know what will happen. Some things will be different because, once doors are open, we will, restart the business. So at the end of phase one, phase two will be totally different than phase one. Salons will have to adopt plenty of systems, which is what they have partly used until, a couple of months ago. But now in the future, we will have to be more rigorous, stricter. This is not something that comes from the government. This is what consumers want. So, of course, salons, now, first of all, they have to carry out, a perfect cleaning operation. So hygiene is fundamental. They have to sanitize the salon. They have to use specific tools, for example, gel for the hands of our operators. This is vital and mission critical. Probably operators will have to wear a mask, as our local governor says, because of course, you don't have, of course, very long arms. So, of course, we cannot, we have to be close to the customer. We cannot comply with the 1 meter or 1.5 meter distance rule.
That's safety and health, right?
Right. Safety and health, two key elements. They will have to test, the temperature of their customers before they step into the salon. Because, once again, if they have more than 37.5 degrees, it's a good idea to send them back home. It may sound like sort of discrimination, it may sound like a problem, but this is what we have to do, so we have to behave all together. There's another major disaster, or let's say a big change. I'm talking about distances. So once again, of course, we live very, very close to our customers. We have to make sure that, of course, we will have some specific, context. The logistics, let's say, inside the salon will have to change at least 1.5 meters from one person to another. For example, if you have, 10 stations in a salon, you will only have 5 operators with 5 customers, at the same time. Otherwise, you won't be able to comply with social distancing. So this is a ratio, and this is a change which is absolutely necessary. You don't want to have too many customers waiting, otherwise they would complain. So one of the things that will incredibly change for everyone will be the way work is organized. So once again, you have your appointment, you have your agenda, with the list of customers every single day. Of course, we have to comply with this. Timing will be of utmost importance. And of course, you cannot offer an appointment for 11 a.m. If I'm still working on another customer.
Well, let's be clear. Is this the end of waiting rooms in hairdresser salons? Well, they will not be allowed to have waiting rooms anymore. You can't afford to have 4 people sitting close to each other anymore.
Exactly, you're right. So back to, let's say, social distancing or customer distancing. Once again, you don't have to rush to the salon only on Friday and Saturday, which is what happens today. So today, many salons here in Italy have some incredible peaks, especially on Saturday. Something like up to 40% of the customers of the entire week. I know some salons doing something like 50% of the weekly business on Saturday only. So, of course, they won't be able to, let's say, to expand, the surface of their businesses or salons to make everyone happy. So, once again, they really have to reorganize the business. For example, 20% of customers for the 5 or 6 working days of the week. It won't be easy. For example, those having salons in the big shopping centers and shopping malls, they will have a problem because, they have potential customers just because, you go to the supermarket and then, of course, you go to the, to the gallery or to the shopping center, once again, just to take advantage of having customers there. So again, this will be a major change in the life of salons. But wait a second, let's be optimistic. So just imagine what happened some time ago at the dentist. Okay, I have my agenda, I have my appointment at the dentist in 6 months or even 12 months. Okay, of course, even before the virus, I mean, I have never waited for more than 5 minutes at the dentist, okay? So because I know that I have to comply with that time, and we can do the same thing also for hairdressers. It's a new way to, let's say, plan your life. It may sound or feel a little, regulated, but it's okay. I mean, there's no way out.
Well, two key steps must first be taken in order to do what you said. You need to work out a precise schedule and the consequent time frames. As a customer, I know that hairstylists are sometimes very bad at this.
You're right. And by the way, personally, I think, well, actually, in the company, we think that time is the most difficult variable to manage, but at the same time, it is the most important factor. It's impossible to, let's say, to catch up, with time. And once you have lost time, I mean, time is gone. We are used, as you said before, to do so many things at the same time. So once again, back to the training or education I was talking about before. Well, we also have to receive training and education on how to better manage time. Some years ago, we have invented the so-called Italian cut, okay? Italian haircut. I mean, it's a special technique in order to reduce, the service time. At the same time, we keep a very high level in terms of execution. I know some people may not like this. Some people find it difficult to change. So I have to have a specific, haircut system that saves me time, but I have to make sure that the haircut is done in a perfect way and, in a short time. Of course, I'm talking to you. I mean, you are a financial economic reporter now. So if I have a haircut in, let's say, 8 minutes or 45 minutes, of course, profitability changes. We know that, not all people are, wealthy, or you cannot ask for an extraordinary, a very high price for hair cutting or hairstyling. So we have created, from coloring temps, we have incredible colors. So the process time has been halved. So you have a fantastic process going on in 20 minutes instead of 40 minutes that we had for oxidation colors. We can also use, for example, many other products. Of course, I'm talking about highlights. Okay, maybe this is a technical language, but...
Well, I'm learning a lot today.
You have plenty of, let's say, chromatics or color effects. We've been able to shorten times. Time is important because, as you said before, we don't want people to wait, because once again, I'm sure that waiting time will be an issue. There's another problem we have in salons. I mean, they work 8 hours, 9 hours, even 10 hours a day. But wait a second, even if you work 10 hours, you have to carry out as many services as possible. So time saving, time reduction will be fundamental. So now we are looking for practical, tangible, concrete solutions. So now the number of customers served has to increase, but the time is always the same. So the return on investment, or, let's say return on any customer, has to be as high as possible. So if you work for 8 hours, so you have to make as many customers happy as possible, we are ready to make them happy. We are ready from a tangible operating point of view, so we do have plenty of specific products, but we are also ready in terms of training. Once again, if you have to do something different, first you have to learn this thing before teaching it.
You've been very clear. You see, this is an interactive streaming. People are writing comments, and Antonio Pietropaolo is very right in saying that some hairstylists have been actually overcharging their work schedule, maybe out of greediness. I hope that these guys will be able to meet security requirements, since failure in doing that will, result in big issues. I think there will be a clash between those who have been cutting corners on security requirements and those who have fully complied.
Yes, you're right, and as I said before, what we are facing now is a brand new scenario. So the consumers or customers we had before won't be the consumers or customers that we will find in our salons in the near future. So this is what I mean by total quality. Quality means people understanding that services have to be performed in a very smart way with the right timing. I'm sure that, there will be someone, to make customers happy. They will work for I don't know how many hours, but then of course you have to comply with your local regulations. But once again, we need to comply with the rules. So here in Italy, of course, maybe we don't like, to 100% comply with the rules, but this behavior will change. So new operating standards will have to be adopted by everyone. So I'm sure that everyone will be able to invest our own time in a very smart way. Okay, if you take a break with a customer, maybe a coffee or a cigarette, well, I don't think this will happen. I don't think we will have the time to take a break and, have a coffee. Now, wait a second, I'm not telling you to just only work. Of course, many people now, this is what they are dreaming of. I mean, after 3 or 4 weeks of, containment, of course, we all want to go back to our businesses. But, some people, were very successful. Some salons were very successful before. Now things will be different, okay? And
customer reactions also need to be accounted for. If a customer notices that a shop is too crowded, he will not be coming back. Once again, security requirements are pivotal.
We need to really understand what is going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, some customers might decide to leave the shop right away.
Because, of course, customers may decide, to change, his or her mind. Yes, once again, this is included in what I said before. There will be a change, a behavioral change. Now, maybe you don't remember, or not many people remember, but, when I was a child, I remember that, what usually happened to, children my age in the region I used, let's say, to live in. I had to go to different shops, okay? So I had to go to every single small shop, the vegetables and then the fruits. And when we saw the first supermarkets, we didn't believe that supermarkets would have become the new meeting place. Children today say that everything can be found in a supermarket, okay? So habits change, consumers change. So, inevitably, unavoidably, this is what, Darwin was right. If you really want to survive, we need to change. So we have to adapt to the new situations.
Adaptation. Only the most adaptable survive. And the same also applies to customers. How many will be successful in doing that? Well, one thing is sure, the production chain will need to cooperate as a whole, and that means you, hairstylists, and also customers. So one more question. Do you know how long the lockdown is going to last? Do you have an idea? We currently don't know, and there's much speculation around that, and industries are asking for guidelines, but everything is still unclear. And I know the situation is improving, and that gives us hope, but we haven't been provided with any clear date yet. But there will be a new start, a day one, and hairstylists need to be ready for that. Could you please expand on that?
Well, thank you so much for reminding me this point. Of course, we talked about the agenda, we talked about the appointments, and then, of course, we don't know exactly, what to do every single day of the month or even every single working week. Of course, we need to plan the business, okay? So one of the very simple technical suggestions is to get in touch with customers, okay? And then we can start planning the resumption of the business from day one. Now, as you said before, we don't know if, day one is April 20th. I'm very optimistic, but it will probably be May the 5th. Okay, so only time will tell. I know that day one, 8:30, I will have customers requiring color, for example. So I have to organize my agenda so that all my activities will be planned from day one onwards. Once again, unfortunately, we will have quotas, we will have just a limited number of customers, so the work organization will play a mission-critical role. So with partners, with the staff, we need to go through this agenda, if you will. And then we have to start working right now just to understand who does what, just to avoid the total chaos, total confusion, the day we open. So this is just like a Formula One, race. Of course, we have a driver, we need to have the tires, we need to have, engineers. So we need the entire team being ready right now. Of course, we can also have many other initiatives or suggestions just to improve day one, so the reopening day. This is not very easy for, all Italians. I mean, of course, we need some dynamic people, or maybe people used to alternative methodologies of the economic financial management of their business. Some people said, why don't we help hairstylists? Consumers or clients may purchase a part of the service. For example, they may buy a service for example, €20, just like a coupon. It can be in a haircut, a color, or let's say restoration, reconstruction, or something much more expensive. This is a good idea because first, we may have a sort of a preferential vision, just like purchasing a fast track at the airport. Okay, so you skip 30 minutes queue, and then you may be customer number one day one. Then you can start funding a business that right now sees no, let's say, profitability.
Well, I've been listening to a lot of ideas, and yours is one of the most sensible and practical ones. Tell me if I got this right. Let's say I'm a customer and that I am aware that activities will only resume on the 22nd, and let's say that I really, really need to be served with high priority on the 22nd. Well, your system would allow me to book appointments and transactions right away. As for other aspects, well, we will be able to discuss them later on. Your system would allow me to be served immediately instead of trying to book an appointment on the 22nd with all the possible risks of long waiting times. So basically it means fast booking service for customers and some early and much needed liquidity for you. Am I right?
Yes, correct. I mean, this is one of the ways out, if you will. So this is exactly what we do. For example, when you don't find a seat, for example, on the train, for example, you may want to decide that you want to go to that train, that time, and you want that seat. So, of course, you pay before, you pay earlier. So this is what we usually do when we book services. We need to find a new system so that, this is a nice way out. And again, you can offer the service as soon as possible. Otherwise, it becomes just like a lottery, okay? And then what do I do? First call, first served? Or maybe a long-established customers? I mean, I need to have a rational criterion.
Well, actually, you are not paying more. The amount is pretty much the same. It's only a down payment.
Absolutely. It's a sort of a down payment. You don't pay more. You have to be sure you will have the service whenever you want to have the service. And it can be a brand new, creative, smart way to better manage, the list of appointments.
Of course. And it also provides some liquidity early on.
Yes, you are right. This helps in terms of, cash flows. I'm sure that our government will be very, let's say, long-sighted, but the service will be complicated. We need to wait for some time, and then maybe the government will give money and support to every single business. And I know that many businesses have closed many weeks ago, and then they still have to go many weeks before they reopen. So just imagine, the rental costs and even the products. And, I am one cost for the hairdresser now, including the staff. I know that unemployment benefits should be paid to everyone, but all these systems, of course, are very heavy to be, let's say, solved by every salon.
Well, multiple technical solutions are available. With deposits, you are not required to issue a receipt. Receipts must only be issued when a transaction is finalized. For example, we could make booking payments PayPal only.
Yes, exactly. Don't forget another important point. Most customers that we have in our salons today, they have a very, very personal relationship with salons. So we all know very well that right now, some people are now, let's say, talking to customers. They have sent products. Shampoo, masks, or finishing product, or restyling products. So they solved, this problem, and of course they can also solve, let's say, the payment problem.
Exactly. PayPal and other solutions also exist. Let's change topic. I'm from Sicily, but I've been living in Milan for 23 years now. And, every summer I actually go back to Sicily to enjoy holidays. How will August 2020 be? Are hairstylists going to experience a different kind of summer?
Well, it will be a very unique August. It will be a very, let's say, a hard work month of August instead of a vacation month, as we are used to have here in Italy. This is one of the big changes coming up, and August will be one such change. There will be plenty of consumers. Well, some people may decide, to keep their salon open in August. So we need to change our, let's say, holidays or vacation planning. When I talk to Americans, they are much more flexible in terms of vacations and holidays. Now they have a little bit more vacations than we have, or than the past. Maybe they just take no vacations, no days off for 2 years. We have to have at least 3 weeks in a row, but this is something that they don't do in the US. The situation has changed a lot. This will change. So we're moving towards much more flexibility. I don't think that we can all enjoy 3 weeks in a row. But I think that, this sort of situation will have an impact in summer. So in summer, I'm sure that we will enjoy long weekends, maybe 1 week off, but I don't think we will have, 3 weeks, which is what we used to do until last year. And this is maybe the beginning of a new trend. Back to my childhood, so many, many years ago, of course, but, we needed, to buy the newspaper just to have the list of the very few shops open in the month of August. Today the situation is different, of course.
Indicators say that cities will be extremely crowded during summer 2020 because workers will not be able to leave for holidays, and working activities in cities and towns will be at full swing. Businesses right now are urging their workers to spend their vacation days right now in order for activities to be resumed in August. It means that summer 2020 will be a different one, and we will have to adapt.
Yes, all of this is absolutely true. We are going to face this change, but this won't be the only one. For example, in terms of training and education, this will also change. We said that we need to change, but of course, before changing it, you need to understand what to do and how to change. So, education will change. We have started with our own, education program. The name is personal training. So, it's a very simple name, but it is a self-explanatory system. This is something we do in the shop. So, right into the, locations that we have, into the salons. Maybe people will work also Monday, which is traditionally a day off here. And so the salon will be open probably 6 days, maybe 7 days a week. The use of webinars will be one of the consequences of these experiences. So there will be behavioral, but also business changes. And back to your question, the month of August won't be the traditional holiday or vacation month that we usually do here in Italy. Some salons in the past years were open in August, and they did a good business because everyone else is closed. Anyway, this year, August 2020 will definitely be different.
Are we going to see any change in seasonality?
Now, in terms of seasons, so seasonality of our business, well, I think that, our sector, our industry has a key role. We want to give women and, of course, men, of course, together with our barber business, well, even more so. But I say the women really, really follow, the, season change, of course, the 4 seasons or even 2 seasons, for example, summer and winter, they really make the difference in our business. Well, one of the changes means giving a highly motivated, a very concrete answer, a very smart answers to customers. People are looking for quality, but now people want to have tangible, practical, time-saving solutions. So people want to spend money, as you said before, at the very beginning. So at the comeback, at the reopening time, we will always spend more money. But once again, price and value, or value for money, will be the key, ratio to take into account. So, of course, we need to invest our money in a smart way for something useful, something pleasant. So experience concept is, to be found everywhere. But for our salons, this is really fundamental. The experience has to be a unique, exciting, pleasant experience. So I really, really have to be happy. And this means I will become a sort of, I will be promoting, the business of my favorite salons with my friends, with my acquaintances. So we will all work based on top quality.
Okay. Now we are almost out of time here. Now I would like to read some comments from the chat. Let me read them to you. So very strong concerns have been raised about this. Will people go back to their spending habits? Italian hairdressers use high quality products and provide expensive and high quality services. So paradoxically, customers who in the past used to, let's say, rely on the bottom end of the market will struggle at first. They will not be going back to their spending habits, whilst those who used to go for a better and more expensive services, well, those are very likely to immediately resume their spending habits. Is that true?
Yes, you're right. It's difficult to, foresee the situation. And before this, live talk on Facebook, we were talking about the key phenomenon. So what we have been through in the past years, in our sector, but also in the aesthetics, let's say the beauty industry. The beauty industry is a little borderline. But anyway, I'm talking about Chinese hairdressers or hairstylists. For many years, this is, the kind of business for those people who were on a budget. Now, I'm sure that I do pay respect because they had problems and they will have problems. But don't forget that a woman spends, this is something that we have in our company. So basically, what a woman spends at the hairdresser for 1 year, as much money as she spends for a beautiful sleeve item, for a beautiful garment, okay? The average frequency. So once again, this is what she spends for a beautiful, fashion item. But the difference is that here is what she or he wears, so to say, every morning. So this means that women will go back to the hairdresser and they will be very focused because, of course, they miss the fact of feeling beautiful today. So they want their beauty back. This is what I mean. I think that, with positivity, you solve many problems. People say everything is fine. No, wait a second. Everything is not fine. So I need to believe that in some days or in some weeks, everything will be fine. So if I don't like my hair, I don't like my haircut, the color doesn't work, the structure. If I am sad, of course, I won't be able to face the world in a winning way. So today we need all of these, let's say, positivity tools. So salons will have a major role to help us go back to our normal life. One of your colleagues, one of your the reporters you work with in your daily newspaper, Corriere della Sera, he said that, of course, if you think you are, let's say, beautiful and good looking, then you become very positive, and then you think, okay, COVID-19 won't attack me.
Now, we also have questions about informal and illegal workers. Is it an obstacle to recovery? Are they going to have the upper hand? And how long do you think that it will take to our economies to really bounce back?
Now, illegal salons or barbers or hairdressers, well, we have always had them. This is something that you can find everywhere. For example, if you go to France, they have a specific definition. So they have, let's say, the so-called home service hairdressers. They pay taxes and they offer a different service. Now, average population age is increasing, so maybe in the future we will see more, let's say, home service hairdressers. It's not just a question of money. Maybe you have some, elderly customers that they cannot move, they don't want to move, they don't want to go to the salon. So this is a nice opportunity. So I'm inviting all of the federations, confederations. For example, here in Italy, we have Confartigianato and CNA. So they manage, the salon business. We really, really have to have very clear rules and regulations. this is, something which is too easy to do in terms of hairdressing, okay? But, you don't find illegal bakers or many other, types of businesses. I mean, it's impossible to be working in this kind of unlawful, illegal way. So, okay, I may accept a home service, hairdressers or hairstylists, but of course they have to pay taxes. There are some places in Italy where we have some more illegal, let's say, workers, because we think we are smarter than someone else, but we are not. So how can we reduce this, let's say, negative business? I think that the only thing we can do, well, of course, you can report this to the police, but this is not very easy to do. Well, I think that, as I said before, people today are faced to a choice. We now need to decide how to spend our money. If your salon works very well, if you have a different image, if you sell top quality products and services, well, you will win. This is it, okay? So from now on, this is the only challenge we have. I mean, top quality, top service. So, when we had to fight, for example, against, the low-cost Chinese, hairdressers, and I do pay respect, to the Chinese community. But, of course, when the price for a color was €8, what can I do? I cannot offer €8. My color has to be much more beautiful, top quality, so this is why people will want to spend more money. But I know there will be a little, a piece of the market, a little chunk of the market that just won't want to spend money.
So how soon will our economy finally bounce back?
There is one thing I really believe in. The sooner the better. So the sooner we start, the sooner we will have economic and financial positive consequences, returns on our investments. We need to change the way we will operate. It will take some months to see the consequences, not years, just some months. Don't forget another key point, in my personal opinion. Some people may say, well, now there's plenty of uncertainty, maybe unemployment rate is going up, productivity is going down. All of this is true. But first of all, the government is working very well. We have plans. Workers, the blue collars, white collars won't terribly change their lifestyle because, the government is going to pay unemployment benefits. Don't forget that we are now saving a lot of money because, of course, we have spent money for food supplies, but nothing else. So once again, people want to be back. People want to feel positive. They want to be optimistic. They want to look good. I'm sure we will see a very strong recovery. Maybe people won't change or replace their car right away, but I'm sure that everyone will rush to their favorite barbers or hairdresser. As I said before, new timing, new spaces, new organization, but there will be a hype, if you will, in the salons. This is the right opportunity to make the difference. Salons need to be able to offer a top quality, top-notch service. It sounds like a paradox, but this crisis may be a very important, a very optimistic time. So this is an opportunity, okay? No rhetoric. People are making choices these days. Now, you need to have or to deliver a top service. So I will go to those hairdressers, to those salons with a top quality service.
Okay, so one last question, please. A lot of people have been asking this, and I think it will make for a great closing thought. Many countries are experiencing a rise in the interest for locally made products, the so-called made-in products, associated with a surge in national identity. It's happening in Italy, but also in France and Spain. Some say that globalization will recede. It's safe to say that interest in made-in-Italy products will also rise accordingly, I think. And framesi is the epitome of made in Italy. In this industry, you really are the epitome. And, hairstylists with their abilities, skills, and expertise also play a huge part in that. Made in Italy is still a synonym for guaranteed quality. Does that still hold true?
Well, let me tell you the following. We believe in this. We've started doing this since, the very end of the 1970s. We have created a line of products whose name was Italian Style. Our competitors kept working on or for, let's say, enhancing the skills of foreign hairstylists, while we focused on the top skills of Italian hairstylists. Just go wherever you go. I mean, in our country, which is a marvelous country, you go to a small village, you go to a small salon, and you see that there are so many incredible skills. There's a long history, a key attention, a key focus, a taste, a beautiful taste that sometimes, well, you don't find in other European countries. So Italian hairstylists are an example to follow. In the US, some years ago, people said, be American, buy America, they said. So this is what they said some years ago. Of course, I'm very happy to hear something like, be Italian, buy Italian. So, of course, I do have a direct interest in this. But apart from this, it's great to see, made in Italy products or made in Italy services. This is good, but this is not enough. We have to have something made in a special way, top quality, as I said before. Italian products are very famous around the world because of, or thanks to the quality. Of course, some people say, the virus is Chinese, so it is low quality. If the virus had been German, for example, or Swiss, it would have been a real disaster. I'm joking. Now, in many cases here in Italy, we are not good enough in, enhancing the products we have. Maybe we boast the fact that we have purchased maybe some very expensive products from abroad. But once again, we should be, focusing on Italian products. And by the way, globalization will be adjusted a little bit. It will change a little bit, but it will not disappear. So, let me be serious. The fact of being an Italian company, yes, this is a big advantage for us. So we are encouraging people to use the top quality products. And once again, this is an excellent country. 65% of makeup products are made in Italy. People forget that most colors also come from Italy. So once again, we have a deep culture, a fantastic knowledge, a quality which is unprecedented and unparalleled elsewhere. So this is the right opportunity to rediscover top quality products and services.
We couldn't end on a better note. Messages from the chat are expressing a great sense of pride, belonging and solidarity. They say that we are all part of the Framesi family. And, well, when you have more than 400 people tuning in and expressing that kind of feelings, it really makes you feel like our future struggles can be overcome.
I am 100% sure that this will happen. Quality is always rewarding, okay? The quality of products, the quality of services, especially the quality of relationships. This is a fundamental element today. You can see here the hashtag in Italian, distanti ma uniti, far away but united. Is too, we are far away from each other. We have social distancing measures, so we cannot embrace, we cannot hug now. But of course, this will end one day, okay? We are here. We've been here for 75 years. I hope that someone will follow me for at least 75 extra years, 100% dedicated to this business. We will do great things in the future. Thank you. Thank you so much. Bye-bye. Thank you.
Thanks a lot.